I'm going to share with you 5 of my most favorite knives, and my most favorite in the world is not an LT Wright. I'll save that one for last. First one I want to take a look at is from the Les Stroud Wild Harvest collection. This is the foraging tool. As you can tell, we've utilized it, and if you've seen the video I did before, we actually lost this tool for about a year, and then looked for it, and came back and finally found it. But let's talk about this tool and what we do with it. So all the patina that you see on this blade is from where I left it out. It doesn't come like this. It comes a lot prettier than this. However, I also utilize this a lot, so there's some natural patina from use as well. But this tool is designed to be purposed for foraging for wild edible plants and using it outdoors. It does have an edge on it. It has somewhat of a swedge on the back. What I've done is I utilize this as a digging tool. I've utilized it as a chopping tool. And again, I wouldn't say a hardcore bushcraft usage, but on edible plants, medicinal plants, and stuff of that nature. I harvest a lot of cattails here, both for projects where we're building mats as well as food and fire tender. I mean, we harvest a lot of cattails here because it is a renewable resource, obviously. But this tool works exceptionally well for that. We have 2 courses on our website, Nature Reliance School. One that covers edible and medicinal plants, foraging for fun, and another one for just tool uses and stuff of that nature, bushcraft. We utilize this tool a lot in the process of that, building that course, and I show you how to utilize it in several different instances. So this is the Wild Harvest collection, again, from Les Stroud's collection, built by LT Wright Knives, a fantastic tool. Let's move on to some more bushcraft type tools now. Number 2 is the Legume that is made exclusively for Ben's Backwoods. Let me tell you how we use this knife. I don't think you can find a better carver than this particular knife. I utilized it during the writing of my most recent book because we did 25 bushcraft projects in there, and I utilized this blade over and over and over again, as well as in our survival and bushcraft coursework for Nature Reliance School. This knife, well, typically what I do in class is I'll lay out 25, 30 LT Wright knives and a few others and say, pick up, use whatever you want, get a feel for it. And that way, if they want to purchase one, then they can leave class and know that they got personal experience with it. This knife gets picked up over and over and over and over again in bushcraft class because it works, and it works well. It's a great carver. It's got a tip where you can get down and do some drilling with it if you're doing a drill for a tri-stick. I utilize it to dig out when making spoons and forks and cups and the writing of this last book. It's just a fantastic blade for the purpose of bushcraft carving and woodcraft and wild woodcraft and stuff of that nature. Number 3, LT Wright Genesis. I've done a lot of videos with this particular blade. I love this thing. I have utilized this knife for years, and everything ranging from training elite military units to school kids on how to utilize knives and the different functions and forms of different blades. This is, quite frankly, just a workhorse. I don't know how else to describe it. I've done everything from survival to bushcraft and stuff of that nature with it, and it has performed exceptionally well. You'll notice that there's a very natural patina on it. You'll notice that the handles are very dark and beat up because I've utilized this knife, again, for years, and I absolutely love it. The Chamonix, built by LT Wright Knives, designed by me. Once I designed this particular knife, I use it nearly exclusively. This knife was designed to be thinner than most of your typical bushcraft blades for the purpose of skinning game, harvesting and processing game in the field, squirrels, coons, deer, obviously, turkey, wild turkey, all that kind of good stuff. I intended it for that purpose. It serves very well as a bushcraft knife. Obviously, the sharp LT Wright Knives spine, but this knife has served me incredibly well. It's designed to be a fighting tool as well. That's why it has this curve on it. That's why it has this length on it. A lot of people ask me about that, but the curve itself works great for popping the rib cage of white-tailed deer, which I've utilized it for numerous times. It's served me well. Just if you're not aware, this is the prototype for those of you who have purchased a Chamonix. This one is the ABL with saber grind. You'll notice that the handle is thinner. This is the first one that was ever built. Typically when I'm working as a designer with knife companies, I always keep the prototype, and that's the one that I utilize because I'm cheap like that. So the handles that you get when you purchase one from us or River's Edge Cutlery, you'll get a little thicker handle. And the one that River's Edge, they have the flat grind and the A2 steel, where this is ABL and Saber. And my favorite, drum roll, is a Barlow. Why is this particular knife my favorite? Because it's the first knife that was ever given to me by my dad, and I still have it. Barlows are not the greatest knife in the world for function, for durability, but as a kid, when this knife was handed over to me, I thought the world had come to an end. I thought it was so cool, and I don't know how else to say it. As a kid, I don't know if I thought that this way. Now I think I was just honored that my dad trusted me. So it means a lot to me. This particular knife, come in here real close. Let me show you something. So a lot of these knives, these very cheap Barlow knives, are made as promotional items. And you'll see right here, and I don't know if you can see that or not, it's nearly worn off. But it says Sperry, New Holland, because my family were sellers of New Holland farm equipment back in the day. And so they had a bunch of these made up. As an example, we've had some of these Barlows made up just as promotional items for Nature Reliance School. I give them away at times and have sold a few of them as well. The thought is that we could utilize this knife to help get knives in the hands of kids, show them how to utilize it safely, how to utilize it to get some functioning done out in the woods. And that way other parents and grandparents and mentors and stuff of that nature could pass on a knife. Because I'm 54 years old, you all, getting ready to be 55. I've had this knife for almost 50 years, and it still means a lot to me. You never know when a knife, whether it's an LT Wright knives or a Barlow, handed off to somebody, is going to mean enough to them that they'll hang on to it, and it'll mean a lot to them for 50 years. So pick one up from LT Wright knives, one of these, one of the others that they make that are fantastic. Get a Barlow, something. Just get a knife, put it in somebody's hand, show them how to use it, show them how to keep it safe. As always, come on, join in. Let's learn together.